Hi, my name is Callie Irvin, and I'm here to discuss my volleyball data for the personalized system of instruction. What I did was I did all my data on Excel. I did volleyball, so my categories were setting, bumping, underhand serve, overhand serve, and spiking. Um, and then I had these, which were the subcategories that I pulled straight from my rubrics, my grading rubrics. All the rubrics had like 5 or 6 things for each category, but I pulled out 3 to 4 that I thought were really important and the main ones that students should or I should be looking for while doing a peer assessment. Um, so this is all fake data. I didn't use a real class or anything like that. I simply just did this for the purpose of showing what this kind of data would look like. So here's my subcategories. I'm going to talk about bumping. So I had athletic stance, forearms facing out, and hands together. So like I will do in a real class, I'd have all my students be assigned a number because for their own personalized, for their own personal reasons. I don't want anybody seeing what each other made. So I have student 1 through student 25. And then I just gave a fake number for each different category. I use Excel because I think it's easy to find average and all of that kind of stuff. So at the bottom right here, you'll see the average for athletic stance, an average for forearms facing and facing out, and the average for hands together. The range for this data would be, this would be a 3 because students could score 4 or students could score 1. So the range would be a 3. Same for forearms. Hands together, students scored a 4 and the lowest was a 3. So that range would be a 1. The lowest score for athletic stance is a 1. And there were 6 students that scored that. The forearms is a 1, and 6 students scored a 1. And hands together, the lowest was a 3. And 5 students scored a 3. For the highest score, the highest you could be were 4, and 5 students got a 4. For forearms, the lowest or the highest could be a 4, and 5 students got a 4. And for hands together, the highest could be a 4, and 20 students got a 4. The data tells me that students were not that ready for the bumping. I could get that from these numbers. The averages should be way higher than above a little above a 2. It would be nice to have above a 3 to a 4. This is all data that was done before students actually practiced these skills. So this was the pre-data. So students had no lessons on this. It was just go in and do it and do your best. The post data should look a lot better. These numbers should be way higher. The lowest I would hope would be a 3 after weeks of going over skills like this. I will use this data to design a lesson based on their needs. So hands together is something that the students did pretty well, as you can see. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time talking about that. For bumping, I would talk about forearms facing out, and I would talk about athletic stance. These are things that need work, so those are the things that we would go over. We don't need to go over hands together. So I don't need to waste my time unless it's just something I notice that's happening a lot. So that is the purpose of data, is to see where your lessons need to be. I'm not going to teach a lesson over something that doesn't need to be taught. That's just wasting my time, and the students get bored in the process of that. I will use this to meet the needs for each student because I will design lessons that have, for bumping, I'll have stations that are created for level 1 and for level 4. If there's no level 1s in my class, I'm not going to have a station set up for a level 1. If we just have 3s and 4s, then the stations will be harder and will challenge those students. But if it's necessary to have a station for a 1, that's how data comes in, is I can know what stations need to be set up based on what level each student is in my class. I think data is super important to have every day because it allows you to see growth in your class and where things need to be changed or altered due to student learning.